All right, this is gonna be our engine bay video here. 2016 Ram ProMaster City. So these have a little 4-cylinder in them. They're like an economy, get around town without having the huge vehicle that you have to park and stuff. These are equipped to do decent hauling, but they're not heavy load equipment. This has a pretty good engine bay. Oil level was good and clean. Battery is a Mopar battery, looks fairly new. The date on there I could not find. Could be under the blanket they put on those. One thing, you had a special note to see if this could run extra equipment. It does have spots here to add accessories. There is an external like resistor tucked in there really nicely. So there was accessories at one point on here. You can see they still have a couple wires here. So the vehicle is equipped for extra stuff to be actually put into the like stock spots, so you don't have to like cut and splice. Essentially is the best route I would go, because then you have that fuse there too. This fuse is your main fuse, so it'll stop anything before it damages your actual computer, which is right here. Wash fluid good, full. Brake fluid clean. I like that. 8,000 miles, that's one of the most neglected things. These do have like an electric power steering assist, so the fluid starts off as like a dark green. Air filter I was not able to check because it screws. We try not to disassemble while we're doing our inspections. Good thing you can see in on here is our crash rail supports. Clean, no damage, no extra spot welds or repainting or overspray. The belts, hoses all checked out really good on this car. This is gonna be our driver's side crash rail. Also very good, clean, straight. Doesn't look like anyone's been in here ransacking anything. None of these bolts look like they've ever been turned or anything like that. So this is a good clean engine bay inspection here. One thing I always note, that ticking sound is the direct injection on these engines. Now that is good. You want to hear those injectors firing. Usually if you have any kind of drivability or rough idle or anything and you're not hearing those ticks very prominently, it could be an injector problem. So that is something good on these engines. A lot of people just kind of think of it as noise, but it's just how those operate. All right, this is the exterior portion of our 2016 ProMaster City. These are the little smaller versions, better for economy if you have to get into like town areas that you need to parallel park, stuff like that. These are pretty awesome little rigs. They do pretty well, good efficiency. This has some LED upgrades on the lights, a little bit of hazing on there, but you can just do like a restore to kind of get that back off. It does have steel wheels with hubcaps. Hubcaps all look really good, fairly new. Paint looks really good. No real chips or scratches on there. A bit of dust. It's just kind of really ashy lately with all the smoke in the air we've been having, so it's kind of hard to keep these cars clean. Does have a roof rack system that is a factory install. It is under all of the internal welds and everything, so like it's not just bolts hanging out inside the bottom. Coming off to the back and the side here. Tail lights and everything work great. The paint is in pretty good condition. The one area I saw like scratching and everything is on that rear bumper, but that's kind of expected on these work models. Guys are loading, unloading, you're just kind of getting through some stuff, and you catch that bumper. But overall, for a work vehicle, this is pretty good. On this driver door here, you'll see like a little bit of a dent, but beyond that, I mean, I really didn't find anything else. There's a little bit of stuff on the underside edge on the passenger side. I'll show you on the undercarriage portion here, but that's going to exclude our exterior. Great inspection. You can see here body lines straight, they're smooth, nice even lines. Doors open and close very easily. No binding, no paint lines. Like I said, all these bolts look like they haven't been touched, so that's usually a good sign you haven't had to pull things apart. It's going to exclude our exterior. All right, we're going to start doing our undercarriage here. This does have quite a bit of a long bumper before you get to the workings here. I like to get like a full undershot, kind of get you as much as I can. I'll get a better one from the rear, but you can see the cats and everything still there, muffler. No leaks, everything's nice and dry. That's what we like to see. We're going to move off to the corners here. All right, we always start by showing off the rockers, lift points here, make sure there's no damage, everything looks good. You can see the body here. This is like a, you know, a body on subframe design. Subframe looks good, body looking good. Shove this in here a little further. You can see your suspension and everything. Kind of hard with the sun right in my face for the camera to catch on it. Drive axles there, dry. No rust, no flaking. It's good. It's gonna be the rear portion here. You can see our lift point for the back half. This is gonna be your fuel tank all the way across. This is a front wheel drive model, so you just have a trailing axle. It's basically just 2 shocks and then external springs. You guys did have notes for if you're gonna be able to load this thing up. I'll go to the rear here and show you one thing I was looking at. All right, in this rear portion here, you can see this does have a factory mount. It does have a 7-pin, 4-pin connection. I did not see a spare mounted under here. This is our coil spring and shock setup. Now with these, they're not as heavy duty because these are literally just, you know, flexors and trailing. So just keep everything following along. Now in these springs, you can actually put airbags into them. Get you a little more towing capacity if you need it, and adjust pressures for ride comfort and all that. I'm about 250 pounds and I can bounce up and down on this without bottoming it out. So I mean, I'm not sure how much tools you're gonna end up putting in here, but depending on how many tools you put in, you might reduce that travel. So one thing to keep in mind. All right, this is gonna be the passenger rear portion. This is gonna be one spot for concern. We did have the lift support here crushed up, a little bit of damage. That's not a hole, it's just like paint rubbed away essentially. I'm not sure if it was just how they were trying to fix it or what exactly happened there, but you can see that it bent that pretty good. Now next to it you have your muffler, your heat shield and everything. That all looks good. So it was most likely just when the vehicle was being lifted up. Some surface rust on there. That's to be expected on exhaust because it gets so hot, so cold. Nothing around it is doing the same, so nothing really concerned me there. Move off to the front corner. All right, front corner, same deal here. Lift point in good shape. A couple scuffs. Body is in good shape, no rust, no flaking, no peeling. Over here, get it a little better. You can see the drivetrains. Subframe is good. The bolt heads aren't all ground and bottomed out. Flex pipe's in good shape. It hasn't been hit or nothing. Undercarriage there, looking good. All right, this is going to be the interior portion of our 2016 ProMaster City. This vehicle does have 81,804 miles on it. Currently, airbag light does stay on. The ETC light come and go. It does look like the battery might have been reset or was dead this morning because the vehicle was at operating temp when I picked it up. The light here is flashing and the date's reset. This does have steering wheel controls. They all work except for the phone function. I couldn't get that to go off, maybe because I didn't pair my phone. Does have an aftermarket radio here. It does have a backup camera built into it. It's a functional system there. Has some lines on there. 2 different versions of the lines. They don't really line up very well, but the picture's not very distorted at all. These do have like an upper storage area. The net is still inside of it, so you can keep your stuff in place. Dash is very clean. Doesn't look like they were putting a bunch of stuff up there. Some of these you'll see like adhesive and stuff with like TomToms, GPS, whatever monitoring they had. This vehicle, you push that down to lock, and it's also how you open the door. Has auto up and down windows that work. Power window or mirrors here that you have to adjust. It's kind of counterproductive because you have to sit forward to reach it and then look, but they all work. Rear view mirror, no real purpose to it considering this has a full back. We'll get over to there in a minute. I'm going to blow up these doors and kind of show you the rest. All right, this is going to be the outside looking in on the driver's side here. Floorboards look really good. Has the factory mats. Pedals in good condition. Mats are in pretty good condition too. No stains, no rips. Same with the seats. Look really good. It does have a little arm that folds out on the driver's side here. It does have a manual shift option on the shifter that works as well. Drove really good. I'm gonna pop over to the other side. All right, view from the passenger side here. Good seat, good carpet. Door panel, very basic, but very untouched. Dash looks great as well. Like I said, everything fully functional. We'll just kind of go back onto these storage bins, cargo area, however you'd like to classify it on these. This does have both side doors working, so you can get quick access to the other side. I'll show you that in here in a moment. Has a mount for a fire extinguisher. Highly recommended when you kind of work vehicles. The shelving systems are actually bolted in. Same with the roof rack system that's integrated into this upper supports. This little box here is where it hides everything. So it looks like a factory install. The shelf conditions are really good. They did leave the mats in the bottom here to kind of help with sliding and sound. Looks like they did have to do a repair there, but it looks pretty stout. A little bit of scuffing and everything, but not too bad. These actually are pretty nice shelves. Has a lot of storage bins that are still left here too. This little firewall or protector here still has some venting to kind of keep everything cool but still protect you. Pop over to the other side. Like I was saying, with this side, you pretty much are only going to open it if you want to get quick access to stuff that you might leave on these trays. Otherwise you can't really go through that door unless you remove those trays, but then you're losing some storage. Alright, this is going to be the trunk portion or rear cargo, however you like to classify it. It has a small side door here and then like a bigger door on the one side. You got to open the big door to open the small door. Nice easy levers. Comes open very wide. There is a button here. You push this and then go out more to get the door out of the way. And then to do it back, you just click and then it goes back. Very intuitive. I love that. This does have some extra hooks back here. Shelving's very stout brackets. It does not rock or really make a lot of noise. I think most of the noise is just these drawers. I laid my mirror out. This thing's about 4 feet from top to bottom. Kind of give you an idea. You got quite a bit of space. It literally goes to the end of the shelves and you have that whole other area. So I'd probably say I would say just under 8 foot for full layout here. More shelving and everything. This does not have any glass except for the front cab. So you can see into your cargo, but no one else can from the front cab. Paneled lights all over in here. Has this like rubberized mat. It's very thick, very firm, very tough. This does have some scuffing. You can see the weather strip's been pulled out a little bit. It's just, I think, you know, work van getting pulled out, getting drug out. This is actually like a notch for the door. I believe that's how you get to the spare when it's there, but it's not equipped on the car currently. Boom, boom. Shuts very nice. Alright, this is going to be for our code scan while we do our vehicle drive. We always do a scan after we've driven it a while just to check everything over. We did get a couple lights, airbag light and the ECS light came on while I was driving the vehicle. On the scan here we do have an ABS, the airbag light, and a BCM code. I did put those into the description with the number and what they are and if they're stored or present. Only the airbag and the BCM had active codes. Essentially, one I believe has to do with the aftermarket radio in the vehicle because it was a telematics issue. So it could be the problem with the communication with the factory system there. All the other modules though checked out great. One other thing, come on. I always like to make sure the VIN matches with our inspection that we're doing just to make sure all of that is correct as well. We're gonna move over to our monitor here. Alright, this is gonna be the monitors from the drive cycle. I did have the evap system and the fuel system monitoring not come back. This did have quite a bit of idle time, so those should have reset. It could have been the amount of time this vehicle has been sitting. One note I did have, it was at operating temperature when I picked the vehicle up, so these should have cleared at one point. I usually try to do about 10 miles or better on my drive. Green checks are always good. That's what we want to see. When you see the 0 with the slash, that's basically the monitor not supported by the system, but everything else looking good. Those other two should have reset, so kind of something to keep an eye on there too. Alright, we're going to start our conclusion portion on this 2016 ProMaster City. These are the smaller vans, more of an economy car. These are 4 cylinders. You can hear the fan kick on. It goes off pretty quickly. There was some concerns about if this could stay idling and while vehicles are being, or your inspector's working, or whatever the job may be. It's been in the operating temperature the whole time. I've left the AC running, radio on, lights on, and I just kept it sitting here in the sun this whole time I've been working without any issues. Other note, there was a question about load capacity on these vehicles. They are rated for about 1,800 pounds being put into the rear cargo area. They do have an external hitch on here if you have any kind of like utility trailer, 4-pin, 7-pin connection on there. I did make a note on our undercarriage. These have little coil springs under there that you can actually put airbags inside of, and that way you can adjust your dampening, give you a little bit of extra height if you put a bit of load in there and it gets a little low. Overall, these will do pretty good. I know I have a full-size truck and I can only put 2,000 pounds in my bed. Vehicle runs good, idles good. I did note tires probably to the last on their season here. They're about minimums for winter weather in our area. This does have an aftermarket radio, but the backup camera is integrated with it. Everything works except for the phone connection. I don't know if that was because I couldn't get my phone hooked up to it or I didn't get it cooked up right. But all the other steering wheel controls worked. On the rear portion here, we did have some damage on this lift support. Now, usually these pinch welds are just a thin, it's like a thin piece that meets under here and it goes along the line. Now, it can get folded and then pushed up with the weight of the car. I don't know how big of a concern that would be for you. As long as there's no, I didn't see any holes, rips, or tears in the body itself, just it's folded up. It's got some denting there, a little bit of damage. So one thing to keep in mind on that. Everything worked as it should. The vehicle gets up and goes pretty well. It does have an 8-speed transmission. It has the manual shift options, which also worked. And here it's got the auxiliary fan going right now. So about an hour and a half of idling with the air conditioning on will get that fan to go, I guess. Overall, this is going to be our conclusion. I'd say it's a pretty good vehicle. One spot of damage. I did make a note on your engine bay portion of the video. This does have accessory parts for, you know, external lights, stuff like that, which was in the notes. I do recommend using that instead of splicing into existing wiring. Sometimes it's just not equipped or expected to handle the load you're asking it to do all of a sudden. Other thing, roof rack installed from factory. Does have all the plates and everything underneath, so you can't see bolts hanging through. Trim's nice. Nothing shines through here. Great interior on the vehicle. AC blows cold. On the drive, we did have a little bit of a vibration, some internal road noise, about 65 to 70. Braking is good. Like I said, a little bit of vibration at higher speed, you know, 60, 70, but nothing in town. Cruise control all worked great. On our conclusion here, give it a good inspection.